I have come to the undeniable realization that my significant other has been unfaithful, yet strangely, I find myself indifferent to the emotional upheaval this revelation typically incites. Instead of succumbing to despair or outrage, I am meticulously plotting a course for my own form of retribution. Perhaps my approach might raise eyebrows, or some might label me as unusual for how I intend to handle this betrayal. But honestly, my concern for others' opinions is non-existent at this juncture. After being married for a decade, the truth unfolded when I decided to hire a private investigator, a covert action that would ultimately expose the intricate web of deceit. For 2 long weeks, I awaited the results, each passing day filled with a blend of anticipation and sheer determination. When I finally received the damning evidence, it confirmed what I had long suspected. My spouse was entangled in an affair with a colleague at work. The validation of my suspicions arrived like a double-edged sword, cutting deeply yet providing clarity. Now, I can almost hear the thoughts forming in your mind. Why not simply pursue a divorce? The answer lies in a rather straightforward explanation. We entered into a prenuptial agreement that stipulates a specific division of our assets. According to its terms, within the first 10 years of marriage, everything we had amassed together would be divided equally, whereas after the 11th year, any assets acquired prior to our union would remain untouched. And I, for one, am looking out for my interests. It's all about strategy, you see. Timing is a critical factor in any well-laid plan. I discovered my spouse's infidelity approximately 3 years ago, an event that struck me like a lightning bolt, igniting a whirlpool of emotions within me. In a moment of impulsivity heavily laced with hurt, I rushed to contact a lawyer, eager to escape this painful situation. Yet, as our conversation unfolded, it became increasingly clear that hastiness would only serve to exacerbate my suffering. My attorney advised me to adopt a more patient approach. Play the long game, they insisted, allowing time to tick forward, so that's precisely what I've been doing. I find myself waiting, observing the choices made in the everyday life we once shared. Each glance at my spouse, seemingly oblivious or perhaps too self-involved to recognize that I am aware, feeds my resolve. I find it both curious and strangely fascinating how they carry on as if nothing has changed, while the reality of our circumstances simmers just below the surface. My assets matter tremendously to me. They possess a value far greater than any illicit affair could ever detract from. Every day, I remind myself that patience is virtue in this case. I recount the countless moments we've shared, both the joys and the quiet struggles, and I am resolute in my plan. The day will come when all I've worked for will be safeguarded, and the unexpected truths of my spouse's choices will rise to the surface, gleaming with jagged edges. My strategy remains steadfast as the clock continues its relentless march toward that critical milestone, our 11th anniversary. As I navigate through this emotional labyrinth, I become increasingly aware of how the interplay of love, trust, and betrayal shapes the very fabric of human relationships. The burning questions of loyalty, commitment, and what constitutes true partnership flicker in the backdrop of my thoughts. I sometimes envision how these unanswered questions would unfold in a dialogue with a close friend, one who might share the full weight of this burden and perhaps offer insight or camaraderie. Would they recoil at my plans, arguing that retribution will only trap me in bitterness? Or would they understand, with nods of empathy, that my chosen path is simply a form of empowerment? Indeed, this intricate dance of betrayal and revenge isn't merely a reflection of my marriage's downfall, but a deep dive into my own psyche, a journey of reclaiming my sense of self that feels violated. I wonder how many others have faced this dilemma. How many have walked this tightrope of emotional turmoil and emerged stronger, transformed by the experience? For now, I remain in the shadows of my own life, a silent observer waiting for the opportune moment. I keep my heart shielded but vigilant, aware that every whispered secret and stolen glance between my spouse and their new lover only fuels the fire of my determination. This will not be the end of my story. Instead, it marks the beginning of a new chapter. After all, the tale of betrayal often gives birth to a narrative of resilience and strength. As the second half of this journey unfolds, I find solace in the fact that patience does indeed have its rewards, and come what may, I will be prepared to reclaim my narrative. Over the past 3 years, my life has undergone a significant transformation, one that I couldn't have anticipated. Not only did I take a leap of faith by securing a gym membership, but I also dedicated myself to fitness training, and now I find myself in the best physical condition I have ever experienced. This journey has been not just about the physical aspect. It has opened new avenues in my personal life as well. I also made a pivotal decision to accept a job promotion that I had previously shied away from. For far too long, I had allowed fear to guide my choices, worrying that advancing my career would detract from the time I spent nurturing my relationship. However, I meticulously crafted plans for the eventual separation, leaving no room for unexpected turns. I wanted to ensure a smooth transition without causing unnecessary turmoil. Now, let's delve into the heart of the matter, my feelings of retribution. Rather than taking a confrontational approach, I've opted for a subtler form of revenge, one that has blossomed into an intricate psychological game, and, astonishingly, it has been remarkably effective. Since I embarked on my fitness journey and began to transform my physique, I couldn't help but notice a marked change in my spouse's behavior. It was as though, for the first time, they were truly taking notice of me, appreciating the effort I was pouring into my new lifestyle. However, I have made it abundantly clear that any attempts at intimacy will be met with a firm rejection. The sheer thought of engaging intimately with them leaves me feeling a deep sense of revulsion. So, I've adopted a mantra for this period of my life: admire, but do not touch. My spouse is confronted daily with the sight of my sculpted physique, a constant reminder of my dedication and resilience. Yet, each time they try to bridge the gap and initiate some form of closeness, I dismiss their advances abruptly. There's an almost cruel pleasure in witnessing the confusion and delusion in their eyes, once filled with desire, now shadowed by bewilderment. In the beginning, it was challenging to turn down those overtures for intimacy, particularly when they were laced with emotional undertones that played on my heartstrings. However, as time has passed, my resolve has strengthened, and I find myself more at ease with the rejection. What's become increasingly apparent is a noticeable shift in my spouse's demeanor over the past year. There was a period when their frustration grew palpable, the air thick with tension, and arguments erupted over seemingly trivial matters. I began to sense that their affectionate gestures, once overflowing, had been replaced with a frailty of spirit. These dynamics have created a complex atmosphere in our home. I often feel as if we're both actors in a twisted play, where the script seems to have morphed into something neither of us anticipated. They observe me, perhaps with a mixture of awe and confusion, and I thrive on that attention, yet I remain emotionally distant. I crave not just revenge, but also liberation from the shackles of a relationship that had, for too long, suffocated my individuality. As my physical form has become more defined, I could almost visualize the growing chasm between us. A chasm I seem to widen deliberately with each rejection. My spouse's attempts to connect have dwindled, replaced by a hesitance that I find both fascinating and disturbing. It's a dance of sorts, a game of emotional chess where every move is carefully calculated, and the stakes are high. I can almost hear the echoes of my unspoken words within those walls, resonating with an intensity that only I seem to feel. Reflecting on all of this brings a whirlwind of emotions: anger, bitterness, and, at times, an overwhelming sense of empowerment. I believe there's a strange beauty in this evolution, one that has taught me to understand my worth and reclaim my identity outside of the confines of my marriage. I no longer feel like a mere shadow, a supplementary piece of someone else's life puzzle. Instead, I've embraced my individuality and come to terms with what I truly want moving forward. I've learned to relish the power dynamics at play. The more I withdraw, the more my spouse seems to struggle, left grappling with their own feelings of inadequacy and confusion. They're caught in a fog of their own doubts, while I stand on the precipice of newfound freedom. I have plot twists and new beginnings to consider, and I know the journey is far from over. While my method of revenge may seem subtle, it resonates deeply with me. Navigating this new chapter requires skill, strategy, and introspection. I'm compelled to forge ahead, not just for myself but for what lies beyond this tumultuous relationship. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with possibilities and opportunities for growth. And as I sculpt my body, I may as well sculpt my future, one defined by my own choices, desires, and ultimately my happiness. It's a remarkable journey, filled with raw emotions and candid reflections, where every moment acts as a stepping stone towards liberation and self-discovery. Even if it feels like a game, I understand one pivotal truth. I am the architect of my own destiny, and the power to reshape my life rests firmly within my hands. They began to change their approach entirely. It was as if a switch had been flipped. Suddenly, they were kinder, more affectionate, and genuinely seemed interested in my daily life. It was odd, really. At work, I receive frequent calls from them, although I never pick up the phone. Each missed call is a reminder of a past now shadowed by betrayal. They've been noticeably more agreeable, as if they comprehended the gravity of their earlier actions. Yet, despite their efforts to mend what's been broken, I find myself unmoved. In my heart, I know that forgiveness is not something I can extend to someone who has strayed. The crux of their deception has left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I have no intention of allowing them back into my life. They can wander off and reflect on their poor choices. Perhaps next time, they'll think twice before engaging in infidelity. Just a few weeks ago, I was taken aback when they mustered the audacity to propose couples therapy, expressing their belief that we've been distant and have seemingly lost the connection we once cherished. Can you imagine the nerve it takes for someone who has broken vows to suggest such an idea? I couldn't help but laugh bitterly at the sheer absurdity of the situation. It was as if they believed that a few sweet words or thoughtful gestures could erase the scars left by their betrayal. It's comical and tragic all at once, showing a complete lack of understanding of the damage done. It is astonishing how they fail to realize that the bond we once shared feels irreparably shattered. I validated my feelings, knowing how ridiculous their suggestion was. So here I am, biding my time. I'm counting down the days until I can serve them with divorce papers right on our 10th anniversary. Each passing moment brings me closer to freedom, and with each tick of the clock, I feel a sense of anticipation bubbling within me. I long to turn the page and embark on a new journey, one unclouded by the weight of betrayal, guilt, or heartbreak. Fortunately for us, we never ventured into parenthood. It was a mutual decision, a conscious choice not to bring children into this world. With that, I took precautions to ensure that any unexpected surprises wouldn't complicate an already fraught situation. The thought of entangling myself further in their life with children is a prospect that I shudder to entertain. I have witnessed the struggles that come with divorce and child custody battles, and I am grateful that our lives are entangled in fewer ways than many other couples who find themselves in similar circumstances. I often find myself daydreaming about what the next chapter of my life might hold. What adventures lie ahead? What new relationships or experiences await me beyond the horizon? I envision a life colored with independence and the freedom to pursue my passions without compromise. Maybe even travel to exotic destinations or take up hobbies I had sidelined for years. The world feels like an open canvas, waiting for me to paint it with vibrant experiences. I often sit in quiet contemplation, reflecting on happier times when laughter filled our home. Those memories are a strange mix of warmth and sorrow, reminding me of how far we've drifted apart. I can't help but feel nostalgic about the moments we shared, but it's a nostalgia tinged with sadness and betrayal. Each vibrant flashback serves as a reminder of why things can never return to how they once were. Every time I glance at the calendar, I feel a little thrill run through me. Each day marks a step closer to reclaiming my life. I look forward to the day I can finally exhale, to release the pent-up frustration and hurt that's been bottled inside me for far too long. There's a certain empowerment in knowing that I will take this step, that I will not allow the betrayal of my partner to define me or my future. With every silent prayer for strength and clarity, I grow firmer in my resolve, prepared to walk away from the remnants of a relationship marred by dishonesty. I visualize taking my life into my own hands, feeling the liberation surge within me. I'll draw strength from the support of loved ones who remind me of my worth and value, lifting me during moments of doubt. The relationship, once filled with promise, is now nothing more than a shell. I eagerly await the moment when I can close this chapter, ready to embrace all that lies ahead, new friendships, fresh experiences, and perhaps one day, a love that I can trust. For now, I hold on to the hope that beyond the horizon, something beautiful awaits me, something that honors the love I deserve. If my story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more. I'd love to hear your advice on the steps I should take. Keep in touch for future stories.